Yo, what's going on,
Yo,
brother? How we doing?
not bad. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Can you hear me, by the way? I just
I can hear you good. Yeah.
perfect. Alrighty. So let me score a little bit. Sorry again.
What do they call you?
Luke. Luke.
Luke. All right,
Yeah,
Luke.
LUC is my first name, and my initials
Gotcha.
are LMC. So
Gotcha. All
yeah.
right, Luke.
What about you? What about you actually? Because
You can call me Rob.
Rob. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, well, dope, man. Well, like I said, I apologize again about the delay on this, and you know, I think I'm a pretty fair person. I don't have any allegiances here, really, but I
Yeah.
did the for folks that aren't aware, though. By the way, for folks that aren't aware, this is in regards to I had Eazy on my show on a live stream as well, like about a month ago, and I wasn't really aware initially until a little bit later about the situation that happened with you and him. But or no, I was aware. I was aware of the situation.
Yeah,
But
that's why you had him on. Was that? I think it was the next day after he had doxed me.
yeah, I do remember that. So yeah, and my whole take on it, and people can go watch it. It's still up there. It's on my LMC THC YouTube channel. Was that I mean that stuff is like a obvious no. Like obviously that shit is like anybody that's been on the internet for more than a month knows that like you should never ever, and it's also just a safety thing too, but there's a lot.
Extremely safety. I mean, it's childlike. That's 16-year-old shit. You
Yeah.
know. Um, and people die from that. Well, we're touching on the whole doxing thing. Colorado kid. Same thing happened to him out in Colorado. He was doxxed and he was swatted actually, and they shot him. They shot him. It went through his ass into his intestines, and pretty sure he just passed away 4 or 5 days ago, 6 days ago now from septic. I'm guessing they're going to do an autopsy, but he's had a lot of complications since he got swatted. It's bad
Yeah.
fucking news.
Yeah, and for folks that aren't aware, I'm sure most people do know what swatting is, but swatting is kind of this like it's this really terrible kind of like quote unquote like prank or whatever you want to call it, but like it's where like it's usually happens with like kids and like the rise of streaming, where people will see like this happens to like not always like this, but they'll see people on stream, right? And honestly, I don't even want to talk about it right now because we're on stream right now. And I don't want something like shit like that to happen, but
I'm
uh,
not here.
knock on wood. But and then they call the police saying, hey, there's somebody kidnapped at this house, and then they send in the SWAT team, and there's some like serious problems that can arise from that, obviously. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's bad fucking news. It's something, I can deal with the garbage weed. I can deal with people running them out. I can deal with it all. I mean, luckily for me, um, the whole doxing thing isn't really going to affect me a whole lot, but it can affect a lot of people. It affected Andy. He's dead now. He's dead because of stupid shit like that. So yeah, I don't know. You want to go back to the beginning?
yeah, well,
Let me.
rest in paradise, by the way, to Andy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He
But
was a
yeah,
good kid.
let's go back to the beginning, for sure. So like walk us through kind of the start of this.
So I'm kind of new to social media. I'm not. I've been growing weed. I'm up here in Maine. We're always behind on everything up here. But I come over to X and just to help some people out, give them some knowledge that I've gained over the years, gain some knowledge for myself. All this terminology, ZA. I never knew what ZA was till I got on X, right? Um, so it was all that was my whole intent. I got a brand now. I don't sell online. I'm not competing with nobody online. I'm local. I'm legal. I just had some extra time. I like the fact of free speech I've tried Facebook a few times with some weed picks and stuff, and I get banned. But so I
They're the
see.
worst about free speech. They're not. They're the opposite of free speech. Is
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. I don't even play with any of them. Yeah, IG, none of it.
Yeah.
But I see X was allowing you to be yourself and post your stuff, and I see a lot of knowledge on there. So that was the whole thing. And then and another reason I jumped on X was somebody referred me to X to try to find the Skittles cup. I had the Skittles cup for years. It's one of my wife's favorite. It's up there. It ranks high in my faves. I had Skittles, grew it for years, and I lost it like a month, maybe 2 weeks prior to coming on X. And I think one of my first posts on X was trying to hunt down the original Skittles cut. Um, and then I see the Blue Zushi floating around there, and I see the prices, and I see that Blue Zushi was, a Skittles cut, not a Skittles cut, but it had, Skittles in it with the well, it says animal tsunami. I have since learned that might not be true. I'm not exactly sure what it is there, but it had the Skittles in it. Kind of looks Skittleish to me, and I see they were selling it for big bucks, and supposed to be some of the best weed in the world. So I love weed. I've been smoking weed since I was fucking, I don't know, fourth grade, fifth grade, and so I said, all right, I got to try to get me some of this blue sushi, see what's up, and be easy. I happened to, I don't even know where I found Be Easy, but he he had jumped on my post. That's what it was. He had jumped on one of my posts. We were talking about Maine weed and how he had built his brand originally out of Maine. So I'm like, all right, this guy understands Maine weed.
Because a lot of, and just like clarify if I'm right, because a lot of cats from, no pun intended, obviously, but a lot of people from Boston or New York, right? I know a lot of my friends in New York, they go up to Maine because that was where a lot of the growers were in the Northeast, right?
Yeah, Maine has been a hot spot way back.
Yeah.
Back in the day, in the day, you had your Maine green bud, your KGB, your killer green bud. It come
Yeah.
from Maine. They come from all over the
It's
states
like
grabbing.
Maine, Northern Michigan, like those are like these like hot, like especially like people aren't aware, like Northern Michigan and Maine are like really, I mean, really
We're
are like,
players.
yeah, yeah, no, like for sure. It can't
Yeah.
be denied. Yeah.
Absolutely. We got some players up here, and we got a lot of good growers up here. We got guys that have been growing. I've been growing 35 years, legit. I was lugging soil at the beginning, obviously, for the OGs, and I was listening and learning, and I was peddling their weed. I got caught in fifth grade peddling my first ounce of pot, and I've been on this kick ever since. When it went legal in Maine, we built the first recreational store in Maine. Um, so we've been in the business a long time. We know weed, and I see this blue sushi is supposed to be good. And they're saying the bag appeal wasn't there. From what I was seeing pictures, it wasn't there. But I wanted to try it, right? So I put out a feeler who can get me the blue sushi, and somehow Be Easy jumped in there. There was a couple of them that I got referred to. I probably should have went with one of the other ones, but Be Easy said that he had started his business in Maine, and I just had that connection with him, I guess. And so I hit Be Easy up and said, send me some blue sushi. Cost me $500 for that blue sushi, and I don't even give a shit about the price. I mean, it is what it is. So the blue sushi shows up. I was immediately taken back. I posted the videos, but I didn't post them before me and Be Easy started having a beef. The first thing I posted was that I actually wrote, Be Easy did exactly what he said he was supposed to do. He was going to do. He got me my product safely, on time. It came fairly quickly. As a plug, he did what he was supposed to do. And I wrote that on the post. But I also said that he needed to go back to the grower. I still don't know who the grower is. I don't believe it's Tenco. But you need to go back to the grower and kick them in the nuts because they've harvested this way too early. It was wet. It had the hay smell. I've been doing this a long time. You can't pull the shit over on me. I know what cured weed smells like. I know what it smells like in the cure process. I know what it looks like. I mean, I've seen it all. And this shit was harvested way too early. It was wet. it smelled like hay. It had a pleasant smell there, but it still smelled like hay. It was early. It was just obviously it was fucking early. So I told Eazy in that post that he needed to get on the growers. Like, if you're going to be selling weed for $500 an ounce, then it should be at least fucking halfway decent weed. I gave a half ounce of it away. People that wanted to try it on X, I just gave it to them. I've I've smoked 2 joints out of this. All right. I paid $500 for this ounce. If it was even fucking remotely good, I'd probably smoke it. Right. But it's just sitting there getting trashed, whatever. So it started out fine. Because I wasn't going after Be Easy. I was going after whoever grew that weed. Because that's the bottom line was the problem. And then it just escalated from there. He said that I kept tagging him or whatever, and I probably did I'm new to X, but I noticed when other people comment, even if they're commenting to me, it would tag him up also. So he woke up to a bunch of fucking not messages, because I didn't get in his inbox. I got in his inbox once, and I posted that whole conversation when he said I was in his inbox a lot. It was bullshit. After we made the sale, and I hit him back, and I said, "Are you guys fucking with me? Are you messing with me?" And he said, "No, that's the way they do things. They send it in a jar or whatever." I took it at that, and I never got back in that inbox until he jumped in my inbox threatening to dox me. At which point I said, "Dox me, I don't give a fuck," which I don't. Whatever. And so he doxed me, and here we are.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And and then I think like most people are very like 99% of people are very against doxing. Doxing is not cool. It's not something that you should ever do. But that was my big thing. I told him, I disagreed with what he did, and I didn't think it was good. But no, yeah, absolutely. Now I'm curious too. Like, I'm gonna ask you this. This is your decision, because I can, if you're open to it. I don't know if Beezy's watching right now, or if he wants to come on the stream and talk to you. But that's your decision, honestly, because I didn't do that. I didn't afford that to you the last time, so it's your decision
Well,
here.
I think he jumped right on your podcast and said he'd do it again. I think what really needs, right, Be Easy's getting people their product. I think the problem is, if you've got a problem with Be Easy's product, then if you're not willing to be doxxed or harassed, then you probably shouldn't bring it up in public. Like, I mean, that's really the bottom line to it. I think that if you're buying off Be Easy and you're getting the product and you're not complaining, then you're going to be fine. You're going to get your product. But if you want to complain about it, you better be ready to face some consequences of being doxxed. And I don't know. I don't have to buy weed online. I don't really ship weed online. But when I gave him a PO box that wasn't acceptable, which I think that was probably a red flag in itself, that he didn't want to ship to the PO box. Which, I mean, come on, you're shipping fucking weed illegally through the fucking mail. What's it matter whether it hits a PO box or a or a mailbox out beside the road, right? So I think that was probably a
Wait, wait,
red
wait.
flag.
So you're saying, so just to confirm here, you're saying that why didn't he want to send in the PO box?
Well, he didn't tell me why. And actually, I had to get somebody else involved too, because I don't even know what app they were using to make the payment, but I didn't have the app. I don't have none of that stuff. And so, I got some youngsters, my kid and her friends that know all these apps and shit. So I hit them up and said, "Could you make the purchase for me? I'll give you the cash and you just make the purchase." And it was a PO box, and he come back and said that he wouldn't ship to a PO box. I don't know what the reason. I suspect the reason is because he had already been watching me and knew that I probably might have something bad to say about it. So he was just trying to give himself a little security that if I started to run my mouth like I did, he could come back at me with the doxing thing, because it's not the first time. I haven't tagged some people, but I got two other people in my inbox that have had this same problem with Be Easy. And I asked them, I said, "Do you want me to bust his balls?" I got no problem busting his balls. And they didn't want to, probably because they don't want any more fallback from the bullshit. But it's not just me. You got the kid, that other kid, he's 23 years old or something, and Be
Yeah,
Easy's
yeah, he
fucking
did.
with him.
I did an
Like,
interview with him the other day. Actually, he
oh, you
interviewed me.
did?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. No, that's. I he's like the first person to start doing what I actually like, kind of been doing on YouTube for the last like 3-4 years, which is like trying to put together kind of documentary kind of stuff. So anytime I see that, I'm hyped. So I wasn't even aware until like right before I did that live stream with him, and then I found that, and that's why I called him out on that. I was like, bro, that's, come on, bro, like it's childish, bro, what you're doing. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's childish shit. I, I, I still don't even understand how a 45-year-old man can do that. I don't know if he's just,
yeah, I mean, dude, at the end of the day, I think some people are stuck in their ways or whatever, and I think there's that. I mean, is there is there is there gonna be like chance for any sort of closure on this, like, or no?
so I've already had my closure. I don't give a shit. He could dox me 100 more times and it wouldn't affect me none. I love chaos. I don't know if it shows, but I love chaos. Um, I too, man. Like,
You operate well in chaos, so you just like it.
I just
That's
don't
all.
give. I don't have nothing to prove to anybody anymore. I got my wife. My wife is my best friend. My wife's, we're a power couple. There's no doubt about it. Been together since we were 15 years old. Like, we're committed, and there's nothing anybody's going to do, say, even if I got a brand. I have a brand in Maine. It's a well-known brand, and I'm surprised people haven't figured it out yet. I don't give a shit if they do, because I mean, I got all my locals. You see the weed that I grow. I don't have to. It doesn't matter what people say or do. It's not going to affect my business none. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
you
Well,
know,
yeah. Well, I'm curious too. Like, if you're down, I would love to like tell me more about Maine's cannabis scene, because I need to get out there, honestly.
Maine has some fire cannabis, no doubt about it. The biggest problem with Maine is the medicinal side, which I'm on, has no testing at all. It's stupid. It's foolish.
But the caretaker. So you guys have a really, because I remember I was actually in Hawaii and I was filming at Kairwailua, and Jay, I think his name is Jason. He went over to visit you guys in Maine, and he was so impressed by the caretaker. Like, it's like you guys in Michigan have a really robust
Yeah,
medical program, and I'm from Washington State. Where Washington State, like, I was at the very end of the last years of the old school medical,
yeah,
but we got everything scrapped here, bro. We got, like, I mean, literally the Governor Jay Inslee, bro, which all my OGs like, absolutely hate, because he literally scrapped the entire program. But I mean, you guys have really shown a testament. I mean, has there been any like legal kind of there's been any like people trying to, what was happening in Michigan, right? Where they're trying to get rid of uh some of the caretaker laws, right? Did that happen at
um,
all? And
it's probably the same deal like New York, right? They just trashed New York's program or something.
yeah,
Rewriting the books up here. They got So we got the Asians that they're going after specifically.
yeah.
Bunch of, they're calling it triad growth. I don't even know if
Yeah,
there's a
no,
triad.
dude, I grew up in high school. I worked with them in high school, bro. Like, because the thing about it, the stuff that's happening in like the Bubbas and all the stuff in Florida right now, that was happening like almost 10 years before in Washington State.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
literally, bro, like
And then they
the
just moved out of there or whatever, and
yeah, they
just
moved
moving
everywhere,
around
bro. They
shit.
moved. They started in the West Coast, and then they moved everywhere out, and now
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
So that's the biggest hit up here, believe it or not, is they grow a lot of a quick story, you won't even believe this. Machiasport has a correctional facility, a jail, and 2 months ago, 3 months ago now, there was a bust, an Asian grow, 1,000 lights right directly beside that prison, but they had taken and bootlegged the power out of the prison's power, literally.
No
Like
way.
like electrical tape, man. It was a mess.
They did the old, like, I mean, you know, like that's like the trap grows, like, and so anybody that's watching from Seattle, like there's the famous like trap grows all over Beacon Hill. And you just low
Yep.
key bunch of different Asian groups that would just like they're crafty and super badass, honestly, because like
They
you know,
are absolutely, absolutely. They so we got ounces at 65, $75 an ounce up here. Granted, it's nothing like I'm growing, but it's still, you know, it's getting the job done for the people. I don't sell any of my stuff for that, but it's really hit the market up here. It's it's hurt it. Plus, it's cheap to grow here. Like recreational is a little more expensive, but on the medicinal side, I pay $1,000 a year to have a license to grow here in Maine. I mean, how can you beat that?
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
That's
cheap.
amazing. That's cheap. That's how it should be. That's exactly how it should be. Because I mean, for example, like to open up a retail store in California, it takes at least $1 million. You know, which is
Not here. Not here. I got so this location I'm in now has its own. Each town in the state of Maine does their own laws, or they had a choice. They could either create their own bylaws per town, or they could just roll with the state of Maine laws on medicinal. And so this town that I'm in is there's two storefronts allowed in the town, so they made their own bylaws, and I'm one of them. And the other one is pretty close to me. It's down the road a bit. But so there's only two stores allowed here. But for me to put this store in, it doesn't cost me nothing. But you don't even need building permits in a lot of these towns, including the one I'm in. You just do your thing
that's
and open
dope.
a
That's
store.
amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So
It is.
not there's not a lot of like there's not a lot of government, you know,
Yeah,
oversight that's crushing it. Okay, that's good.
absolutely not. Recreational side, I can't speak for because I haven't been in the recreational side. Back when we built the first recreational store, my a good friend of mine was the owner of that store. I just did the whole built out the grow for him. Um, but after that, it cost him a lot of money. That was a whole different side. That was a lot of fees, state of Maine fees, um, licensing to do the recreational. The recreational, I'm guessing you're probably going to have, at least 10 grand into opening up a recreational storefront. But not medicinal. Also
Yeah,
depends on the towns though. Like Bangor, 40 minutes from me, whole different ball game. The city of Bangor is like one of our bigger cities in Maine. The city stays on the medicinal and recreational
yeah.
market.
I'm curious too, just because Maine is Maine, Washington State, Florida, Texas, Cali. These are the corner states, right? Where there's typically a lot of smuggling that happens. It is because I know, like, from my experience, were there a lot of Canadians coming through Maine, or was it just mainly through New York and that like that
Oh
Native
no,
American
Maine.
tribe?
Yeah, northern Maine is all French Canadian. Um, there's three two there's two border crossings up there, and yeah, Maine in the summer especially flood right in with Canadians
Yeah, interesting, interesting. Yeah,
and illegals. I don't know. We got a pile of illegals coming in that northern Maine border too now.
I feel like that's probably the best way to do it, to cross the border, is probably go that way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Vivek Ramaswamy actually did a video. I don't know if you ever see that, but he did a video. He went to It was crazy. He went to the northern border, and the border patrol, the station was right there, and right to the right there was a sign said "Follow this path," and it was a beaten down path. Went down to the river, the St. Croix, I think it is, that is in between U.S. and Canada, and it was a shallow place to cross over right there, and he showed it all. Yeah,
That's crazy. That's wild. That is super wild. Well, yeah, man. Well, dude, I definitely gotta make it out to Maine. Like, I've been to New York a gang of times, and by the way, too, I just texted Be Easy a link. I it literally didn't give me a heads up. Probably not gonna jump in if I had to guess, but just a heads
yeah,
up. But
yeah.
I would say, dude, like, how long have you been involved with cannabis? Pretty much.
Since I was fourth grade, however old you
Like, how
are in
many, how
fourth,
many, how many, how many years do you think roughly? Like, okay.
35.
So, okay, I always like to ask, an OG like yourself, what, like, did you think that the Wii game would be here in like I guess like 15 years ago? Like what the
No,
progression of it? No.
absolutely not. I kind of wish it never was. I know that's
Yeah.
that's a that's a controversial issue. But me being an OG, I mean, we used to grow green bud outdoors. So back then we had Miracle Grow, and unless we made our own, bone meal, fish meal, all that shit. But typically, you'd run Miracle Grow and a Super Boom or a Super Blue Booster. There was a couple, and we'd grow Maine green bud, and they'd come up and pill that for 3,600 a pound all day long, right? And so now pounds up here, you can get pounds up here for 14. Good weed, 1,400. So my point of view, it killed the market, it trashed the market. I don't want to see the feds get involved. I hope they just decriminalize it and treat it like farmers market type shit, the way it should be treated. As
Yeah.
soon as the feds get their hands involved, we're all screwed. I mean, I don't understand how people can be. Name one thing the feds do that benefits the people. Like,
So it's interesting though, like the like what's your thoughts on the THCA stuff?
so we know the THCA deal. Like, we figured that out. So I don't know if you see, but I got I ordered off Hella Slumped,
Yeah.
and it came in, um and I sent it out for testing right here at the state of Maine. I sent it out for recreational um testing for the state of Maine, even though I don't have to do that. I did that. I
You were
did,
just
which is
curious.
a
You
full
you wanted to,
panel.
yeah. And what what
And
what came back?
it came back with high THCA, like twice the amount, which, whatever. I mean, that's their hustle. I don't give a shit. But what one thing the lab did say to me that I found really interesting was, the recreational storefronts in the state of Maine would die to have this product on their shelves. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. Well, why am I getting high off in it then? Right? Why am I getting a different high too? Like a man, heart palpitations, jittery. Like, I've smoked weed for 35 years and I've never been high like that. And it wasn't a major high. It was just like this light heart palpitation and shit. And they're like, that's interesting. I don't really know. And we started talking about the box, and all that, and the trike development. So that's something that I think people should be concentrating on, is that the trichomes that we're seeing in some of this weed. I've
And are you saying
I'm
for
a
the THCA it's not fully developed, the tri or what?
No, it looks like so the THCA, we know THCA is in all the good weed. It deboxylates or decomboxylates, and as you fire it up or cook or whatever, and you produce your THCs, your delta 8, your delta 9s. The government, the feds screwed up when they made the bill, and they worded it wrong, and some smart people, some smart lawyers all said, "Hey, we can just, as long as we keep our THCA number under whatever 0.3, we can sell this as hemp,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
THCA,
Yeah.
right?" So there
Yeah.
really isn't even a debate there. It is what it is.
The
They're
debate
selling
that was
weed.
interesting here is this though. So I'm actually doing a documentary. I've been working on this documentary for the last few months, and it's actually coming out on Wednesday. Funny enough, and I actually interviewed one of those smart lawyers that you're talking about,
Yeah.
and the real, like, obviously that, like, the question for me was always like, was this an accident or was this on purpose? And this lawyer, who is the guy who wrote the legal theory for it, literally, he's like, he pretty much says no, it was definitely not. It was definitely, like, because they have, like, it was definitely planned, because they have actual, like, literature that says, like, specific, like, they talk about, like, you know tinctures, oils. They talk about stuff that like they shouldn't, like, like, it's too specific. So it's like they kind of snuck one in there, in my opinion. And it's really like, so it's funny when you say that, because usually the feds getting involved usually means, okay, everything's going to shit. But it's like this is kind of actually like the way that it probably should be legalized. Let's be real on a federal level.
No,
To a
you're
point.
right, and they're going to change it. They ain't going to leave it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, exactly. You're right. They did do something right there. They fucked up and made it so we can sell. We can send weed. All you got to do is put a. I got it right here. I was just showing my buddy. Like, obviously, you got to have a hemp license, but then you just put in a little label that says, "Oh, the feds are okay with it," and you're good.
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
What my big thing now is the sprayed terp shit. I
Yeah.
need somebody. So I'm gonna say this. Alien Labs, Ted. I don't really know Alien Labs. I see they're a
I know
big
that.
thing
Yeah.
on there. Ted jumped on one of my posts and said he could guarantee me that that blue Zushi wasn't sprayed terps. And I said, could you elaborate? Right? Like, how can you guarantee me that? And of course, he never answered that, unless he was the grower or something. I don't know. But like, how can you say that isn't sprayed turfs? You see the trikes have something stuck to them. It's like all them trikes deep down inside has this crystallized shit stuck to them. And I've been looking at trikes for 25 years, 30 years, and I've never seen trikes. I've got people that have been growing for 50 years that have never seen trikes
Yeah.
like this. Like, what's the answer to these trikes looking like that?
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing in regards to that. Like, do you have proof of like? I think it's just like the look of it, because like I mean, like I'm doing so I'm right now I'm doing the THCA documentary, but I've also been working on the spray pack documentary, or like so that's the second one that's coming up. And the thing about it is, like, I don't really, I mean, the only way you can really tell is smell. Like I don't really know. I guess I wasn't until this situation that I was aware that you could like actually analyze the trikes. I just need to learn more about all that, I guess, more so.
Ted said that you could actually, and it makes sense. So I sent it out for recreational testing here in Maine, and they don't have a specific test for spray terps. So, and they even told me, like, and I think Eazy knows this. I'm gonna be real here. They told me that there's no way for them to test, which I'm sure there is, just in their set of testing that they have. There's no way for them to tell if that is sprayed terps. But I believe, I really believe that the looks of them trikes that I'm seeing is one of our answers. What I need to do is find somebody that admits to spraying their stuff with
Yeah,
spray
I could
terps.
find you someone. I know people that are, yeah, and there's
Yeah,
really a difference here. There's a difference here. So this is what I've recently learned. There actually is a kind of a pretty big difference between, and they're both bad, but there's a difference between spraying them, like putting them in a bucket, spraying them, and then putting them in those crazy machines that been
right.
going viral lately.
Infusing them, Adam.
Infusing,
Yeah,
exactly. Like the
yeah.
infusing is like a little bit better. It's definitely better because you're not at least burning some of the other stuff away or whatever you want. I don't know like the exact process, but they're still both bad. I mean, I gotta like, we don't really know what these are gonna do to you in 30 or 40 years. So
I can tell you right now, I don't even want to admit this, but I can tell you the lab told me that there's a couple places in Maine that are using the box. That Cali candy that they labeled it, that's just whatever. Somebody put a label on it. It's called the box. And the lab told me that there's a few places in Maine that are using it, and it's totally legal. It's FDA approved. But I believe the answer, of course, the lab can't tell me who. They wouldn't. So I can't go buy their stuff and actually look at them trikes. I want to look at trichomes of flower that has been infused in that box. That's what I want to see.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Real quick, rolling hipster, you're getting it confused here. So we were talking about THCA, and now we're talking about terpenes. So like that spray pack. So there, you got them confused. We're not. You could spray THCA weed, but I think what you were saying is like, yeah, that's more a microscope for the spray pack stuff, which I'm definitely gonna be
I
looking
think we
into.
got to look into that if we really want to know if a consumer can look at a product. I mean, all they need is a loop, a jeweler's loop or a machinist loop. They're like $4 on Amazon, and I mean, if we can, I say we, the community, whoever, I'm going to try my best to get some infused flower and look at them trikes and say, okay, yeah, this looks blocky and it looks like the other stuff. This looks blocky. This looks blocky, right? Then we can say, chances are you can look at the trikes and see if your flower's been infused with terpenes.
Yeah, the thing though that like is interesting is it's almost like a little bit like it's maybe not the best example, but we do got to be careful like that doesn't get weaponized and that like good weed doesn't get, because there are some like there's some, because we don't have definitive ways to know, like we do got to be kind of careful to a certain degree because what if somebody just really is like it's like just, like it is like legitimate, it's not sprayed and it just is that crazy of a smell. I don't know. There's obviously, it's hard. It's very subjective more so.
I'm going to tell you right now, though, that look of the trichome is not common. We've never even seen it up here in Maine. Any of these OGs, myself included, I've grown thousands and thousands and thousands
This
and
is like a
thousands.
new kid thing. This is like even like young, like these are like kids younger than me, bro. Like they're like these are like the 18 to like I don't smoke this shit like is that's like I'm 27 and I'm still like that's way after my time. Like I'm literally like natural weed. I don't you know.
Absolutely. It's all about
Yeah.
genetics. I mean, did you see the Singapore sling that I posted?
No, let me peep it right
And
now.
if you look at that, you don't. You, it's snow caps. That's natural snow caps. Like you don't.
Mhm.
All you need to do is buy the right genetics. I don't think people understand how big a role that
Genetics play. Yeah.
the genetics really play. So that Blue Dream, I was growing a Blue Dream out here from seed. I don't even know what the genetics were. My buddy gave it to me. He likes Blue Dream. He's got PTSD, and he wanted me to grow it for him, so I did. And I mean, every plant I got out there, I can show you trikes stacked on trikes and smells. And that Blue Dream just had nothing.
Oh
So
yeah, that
it was
Singapore
nothing
sling
with the
looks
way I grew it. It was the
yeah.
fact that just the genetics wasn't there, you know?
Yeah, the Singapore sling looks insane, by the way.
Right,
Jesus.
that's just natural, brother. That's Tiki Madman.
Yeah, shout out to
I don't
Tiki.
even think they released that. I got lucky and got that cut. She's a show cut. She's not a yielder, but man, I mean, look at that weed.
Frosty. Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah.
I use no PK boosters. Normally I do, but this new grow, long story short, my big facility, I was pumping in CO2. I was running high temps. I was feeding heavier, all that. But this one here, this is more like a hobby to me now, even though I still got my brand I'm selling. This is more like hobby to me. And I'm running an a B, and Magical only for the cocoa. I run in cocoa. So I'm literally running A and B. I'm running no PK boosters. I run out of fish shit quite a while ago, and I hadn't even bought no more fish shit. I've run recharge. But yeah, there's no PK boosters on that Singapore. That's just and that's early. I harvested that one like just 2 weeks early, easy, because she threw a herm on me. When I put it in the flower, a long story, I knew it wasn't a healthy plant when I put it into flower. And she stressed and threw a herm on me, so I chopped it. But that's 2 weeks early right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then sprinkle sprayed, absolutely sprinkle sprayed. Yeah, we know that.
Is it
This is
sprayed or infused? I
it's
want
infused. It is infused. You're right. We got to be careful about it. It is infused. I do know like it is
so
infused. Yeah.
so if I get online, if I jump on the internet, can I go to Sprinkle somewhere and order up an eighth of their infused flour?
So the thing that's been crazy about what I've heard about sprinkles, right, is that like they've been able to take the same LCG and technically release a new strain, like right, like a new flavor every single day or every single week, which
Yeah.
is really crazy because and the problem with the spray pack stuff in general is like this is like one of the major cornerstones or building blocks for like corporatized weed, honestly. Because think about our like think about Frito Lay's, like think about these big corporations that just given us these terrible processed food, right? That's like
Yeah.
it tastes good, it's got all those things, but really it's terrible for you, like nutritionally and
Yeah.
all that. This
Yeah.
is kind of the first step on the way to that, unfortunately, even though I know it's inevitably going to end that way. I think it's important for us as a community to like carve out our sanctuary or whatever and make sure that that there's still people doing home. Luckily we've got great home growers all around the world, and it's something that people are educated. But like the spray stuff is like it is definitely like one of the major steps, because think about this: a corporation is all about efficiency, right? If they can take the same LCG and then give you like 1,000 different flavors, quote unquote, or then like
Just
that's
like
what
they
they're
do
gonna.
with cards.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
distillate cards. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's something that's definitely worrying, but it's at the end of the day, it's inevitable. I think it's just important for us to educate folks. I think that's really the only
That's what
thing.
it's about, educating them, because they're going to be out there. There's going to be people out there that are doing this, and if we can educate them, then they can make their own decisions from that point. But the problem is, there's so many um so consumers that are, I don't want to say stupid because they're definitely not stupid.
But they don't have as much
They're
experience.
uneducated on
Yeah,
it. They're just ignorance, right? They're ignorant to it.
yeah,
They just don't understand, and I think that's key. Um, is getting people just to know what they're smoking at the very
yeah,
least. And then we're
yeah,
not even talking about the bug sprays and everything else they do to this shit,
yeah.
PGRs and
And there's and I would say too, a testament, like one thing that I've heard from the kind of the infused side or the spray pack side is like there's growers out there that are growing with like some like heavy metals and stuff like that. I'm not that doesn't justify that doesn't like that's kind of their counter they kind of like use to justify, but which is it's a point like you have to acknowledge it for sure, but
you know,
I'm actually trying to organize right now with a couple of my homies. We're doing like a whole tour actually around the U.S. to showcase this documentary I'm working on. Slash, it's about just educating folks on this because I think there's a lot of younger. Like I think the point is like we know that McDonald's is now bad for you. Like if you
yeah.
eat it, consistently. We know
Oh, yeah.
smoking cigarettes is bad. Like you get the like this is America. Like you can choose that if you want, but you should at least have the the ability to know that. And I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of younger kids that are doing this that may not know that. And I think that's the problem.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
I meant to touch on this when we were talking about the terps and stuff, and I said I was going to be real. I believe that the blue Zushi I was sold was infused. I really do. Um, I can't prove it. The trikes just looked like the other stuff, but I believe it was infused, and I don't see why he wouldn't infuse his weed. And then I
I don't.
look at
I honestly, dude, I'm gonna be real. I don't see why he would infuse it honestly because he made it like. And the thing about it, dude, is like I personally like talking to him, the incentive structure doesn't make a lot of sense for him to infuse it. Now, like I said, I'm not,
I don't think but that wasn't his brand, that blue
so if that
Zushi.
wasn't his brand, then that completely could have
That's what
happened.
I mean. It wasn't, that I think that come from somebody else. I don't believe that come from Tenco. I really don't. And if it did, then oh my God, like what are they doing?
Yeah, that was
You know
crazy.
what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Thank you, brother.
And then I look at right his new one, polluted pizza. Like what the fuck strains that? Polluted pizza. Um, I don't get it. It's almost like it seems like it would be infused like the strawberry fucking cream, whatever, all these stupid names. That seems like infused weed to me, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
We gotta figure out, the truth. But well, is there anything I guess you wanna conclude on here? Because I think we just good.
I think the biggest thing is for people. My beef's over with Be Easy. He actually wanted to help on that whole cancer deal we got going, and I respect that. People do stupid shit. People are fucking dumb, like, and they do dumb shit. And he did some dumb shit, but I don't know. I hope he doesn't do it again. But I don't really have no beef with him anymore. It is what it is. I hope that the people learn from that shit, and because people can get hurt, and that's just stupid. And
Yeah.
um, it not just Be Easy. There's other people out there that do it. You really got to know your plugs, I guess, and realize what they're capable of doing if you're not happy, right?
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. It's educating the community, be aware of your surroundings, type deal.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate the time, and I apologize again for the delay on this, and I'm
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from you, just in this conversation. So, we'll be talking here soon, and hopefully I can make it out to Maine, and just keep doing your thing, bro. I appreciate you.
You get up to northern Maine, we'll take care of you. We'll get you on some
Yeah,
fire.
let's do it. Let's do it. All right, guys. Hey, everyone that tuned in for the live, appreciate you guys. If you guys aren't subscribed to the YouTube, subscribe. If you're not following, us on X, go follow us. And yeah, guys, have a great Monday. It's going to be a good week. Be productive and be safe, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.